Hampton, and I am your host, Lana Hampton. This is a show where we can have candid conversations with previously incarcerated individuals to discuss their journey to imprisonment, experience with the legal system, learn how together we can reform the prison system, and prevent repeat offenses and assist individuals with reentering society. When we come back, we'll be joined with Angela Stanton King. Stay tuned.
In the heart of Atlanta, where secrets simmer and tensions rise, comes a reality TV show like no other. Old conflicts continue.
So this is where the whole issue started. Fuck you! She know I don't fuck with her.
Expect the unexpected.
In our industry, anything could happen.
He what?
Canceled last minute, and his publicist called and was just like, I'm so sorry.
The event is literally tomorrow. What are we gonna do? I gotta figure out something fast.
It's time to take this to a new level.
It's always some type of foolishness going on.
I told you, babe, we gotta do shit that makes sense.
If your shit go right, then I can frame your company up and then bring in collaboration.
When it comes to the team, let me manage that.
Too much energy.
I don't care.
Business and pleasure sometimes doesn't always mix.
What's up with your love life?
I'm single and ready to mingle, baby.
They doing the shucky ducky like you doing the shucky ducky, and y'all mix the business with pleasure.
He's the one who put in all my life.
That man married, cause that's your little boyfriend.
He has more things going on than he is supposed to.
Like a wife?
Yes.
But in the end, it's all about business.
Don't come here to do me any favors.
This your thing, is your rules.
That's it.
Welcome back, and today's guest, previously incarcerated author and activist, Angela Stanton King. King, because you're married?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I want you to take us back. I want you to take us back into the earlier years, and what are some pivotal moments of your life that set you apart on the path that you're towards activism now?
Abuse as a child, by a family member, and that's being something that was swept up under the rug.
And it
I
still
think
is.
that kind of, think that kind of, created the fighter in me, should I say. So I think that was the beginning, pivotal point in my life where, when we're a kid and they ask you that question, what do you want to be when you grow up? Like, nobody says, I want to go to prison.
So what was the first time that you had a brush with the law? What was the
I wrote about all of this in great detail in my book. Formerly Lives of a Real Housewife, but it's a Life of a Real Housewife now.
Okay.
But I think my first brush with the law was probably at the age 12. A little incident at the mall with some of my girlfriends. I wrote about it in the book, but my, ins and outs with the law started at a very early age.
And was it influenced by someone, maybe your peers? Just like you said.
I think in my very, very early years, I was kind of already on edge because now, having a bachelor's degree in psychology and understanding how the brain works, I was a child at that time, maybe acting out because I was experiencing something and didn't know how to express myself.
Okay. Well, right. I look at it like, it sounds like people need to read your book. To kind of
all 7 of them.
Oh, you've written 7 books. That's awesome.
I only 400.
I only know about 2.
Okay.
And I was, like I said, blown away with reading some of the context there. And I just want to know, what were some of your darkest moments of incarceration, and how many times have you been incarcerated?
Wow, and all that's in the book as well. But the darkest moment. I had several dark moments when I was incarcerated. I gave birth to my baby while I was incarcerated.
Oh, wow.
I went through my pregnancy while I was incarcerated. My mother passed away of a massive heart attack while I was incarcerated. My grandmother passed away of a massive heart attack while I was incarcerated.
Oh, wow.
I lost everything that I owned. I had several dark moments while I was in prison, but overall it's overcoming those things, and it's the redemption behind it all and never giving up.
And that's what I was going to go into. I was going to say, you've said a lot, and a lot of people don't understand that when they are incarcerated, you do lose a lot.
Right.
Because you're in that bubble. So if a young girl was watching you right now, what advice would you give her? Because we as women experience a lot of dark moments. Mm-hmm. What advice would you give a young girl that's sitting watching you right now?
You know, it took for me to go and study psychology to understand, again, how the brain works and how we, you know, relate to trauma. So there'll be dark moments, right, mm-hmm. that we never forget, that haunt us. But yes. when you take 365 days out of the year, right, just about every day is normal. Just about every day is a good day. Every day is not considered a bad day. Those traumatic days may only come once a year or twice a year if you got real bad luck. But we tend to focus on the days that are more traumatic mm-hmm. than the days that have been good, right. because the trauma doesn't always happen.
Right.
The
right.
good days always happen.
Right.
So learn to retrain your brain, right? Mm-hmm. And after the storm, the sun will shine. You know, keep going, never give up.
So I know it's been a while since you've been incarcerated. Mm-hmm. And how many times have you been in jail?
It's in the book.
You don't want to tell me.
It's been a lot. But thanks to President Trump, he pardoned me, cleared my record. Okay. So none of that matters now.
Speaking of Trump, you know, I asked my other guests, right now, do you think he's going to do something great in prison reform? Do you think he's going to go into the prison? Because I know when I was in, I've only been home 4 years, but this is my second incarceration. My first one was back years ago. Mm-hmm. But do you think that he's going to do anything to educate and give reintegration education in the prison system?
You know, that's a good question that you have, and I'm not sure if he has a focus on that in particularly, but there are several groups and organizations that he works with mm-hmm. that do provide those services. Like my organization, American King Foundation, when President Trump passed the First Step Act, mm-hmm. we already had a partnership with the Alaska Department of Labor to hire 4,000 of those returned citizens. They mm-hmm. could work in the seafood industry. They could go over there, work for 3 months, make a year's salary, come back home. They can start them a business. Because what I've learned with returning citizens like myself right. and you is right. that we're better when it comes to entrepreneurship. We Absolutely. Already got issues. Absolutely. We don't like listening to nobody. We hard-headed. You know how that goes. So
yes.
It works better for us mm-hmm. when we learn how to, and that's another thing I experienced when I was in prison and you spent time there. Mm-hmm. We discover our talents. And so there's always a way to take your God-given talent and turn it into a profitable business.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
so
that's what we teach.
Let's talk about that book. What inspired you to write King, Trump, and Kennedy? Because when I saw the title, I was like, okay, I get it immediately. I think the title was very, very calculated. So what do you think readers would take away from that? Tell me, what was going through your head.
It's my life story. Anybody that's read any of my books or a fan of me as being a national best-selling author, I always tell my real life story. So mm-hmm. these are my real life experiences with these 3 legacies and how the most unlikely of alliances can come together and fight for the betterment, right, of not only our country but Black America, because my work with these 3 families has been specified in one particular area.
Right.
And that's the only area I know, Niggerville. That's where I'm from.
Well,
and
so,
we all
got used to that.
And I mean, very grateful that I can be very honest and open and transparent, because and being honest and open and transparent in not only my writings but telling my stories, I do give people hope. Because, a lot of times we might look at these people who are in positions like me now, senior advisor to Robert F. Kennedy Jr., and they might see, oh, they're so polished, they never experienced anything, they never went through nothing. Right. No, baby, I was chained to a bed giving birth to my daughter. Yeah. And I had no idea that 18 years later Trump was going to change the law and make it illegal for them to do that. So everything has a reason and everything has a season. So King, Trump, Kennedy is about my work with the King family for 20 years on community restoration.
Awesome
Awesome story there. Came home from prison. Like I said, I lost my mother. I lost my grandmother. I was given a $25 check and a bus ticket and told to go start my life over, and I had nowhere to go. But I had 4 children waiting on me that were scattered amongst family members. Right. And so this is me, and my process is going, you know, from shelter to shelter, because back then it wasn't a bandbox.
Right, right.
So nobody wanted to give me a job, and I couldn't get Section 8, and I couldn't get any of that because I was a convicted felon. So I ended up going to a women and children's crisis center looking for help, and Alveda King, who was the niece of Martin Luther King Jr., happened to be the woman working there that day. That's how I got connected to the King family. Okay. She was already connected to Trump and his family. 16 years later, he's working on criminal justice reform. She asked me to go in and tell my story. Okay. I go in and tell my story. Trump is blown away. Now I'm working with him and his family on criminal justice reform.
That is amazing.
Then COVID hit.
Yes.
And I'm contacted by America's Frontline Doctors and Robert F. Kennedy, and they asked me if I would take them into our communities because they wanted to make sure that we were getting information that had been censored on the airlines as it pertained to our community. And through that work with them, I formed a relationship with RFK, which led to me being a senior advisor on his campaign, and then ultimately bringing him and Trump together.
Okay, so
to form this unity movement.
The thing is, for me, I know Trump, you know, and I don't like taking political positions, you know, but if he's doing something great, I'm all for it. And that would have been any politician. So I know your memoir details and encounters of influential figures, and I guess these are the ones you're speaking of. So what meeting had the biggest impact on your personal journey and your advocacy
I
work?
mean, all of them did, because the King family became my family. It's kind of almost like the story of Joseph in the Bible. You know what I'm saying? Where you were abandoned and betrayed by your brothers, and then you found favor with the King. So the King family has been my family, and they also taught me a lot as far as community service, right, in the nonprofit sector. That all led to me getting a full and unconditional pardon from Trump, which led to me being able to run for office in Fulton County and be a senior advisor to somebody like Robert F. Kennedy. And me being a senior advisor to Robert F. Kennedy in this moment is monumental for a black woman that, you know, was born, you know, against with all the statistics, you know what I'm saying, and made it through what I've made it through. So they all formed and shaped who I am today.
And it's really funny, right? And I'm just gonna play devil's advocate here, because you know everybody says Trump is so prejudiced, and he doesn't like black people, and you know he's you know, for Ku Klux Klan, you know, all the stuff that we see in media. That's why you shouldn't believe everything that is put out in media. I always tell people to go do your research. So listening to you, it seems that Trump is doing things from the perspective in the black community, and we should respect him as such. However, I do know your book touches on time in the White House working with President Trump. So again, what are your biggest challenges and victories advocating for, you know, criminal justice reform on that level?
I mean, I'm operating from a business mindset. I'm not in my emotions. When I go get my nails done at the Asians, you know what I'm saying, half the time they don't like me. They talking about me, but they still take my money. We're still doing business.
That is true.
When I go to the gas station that's owned by the Indians, okay, and I give them my money, right? When I go to that corner store that's in my community, or when I go to that chicken fry spot, what they got down here, JJ's Fish, that's in my community, that's not owned by me, and they got the seasoning salt on the chain, right? And ain't no chairs. You can't sit down. They want you in and out, and they got the walls up because they don't even want to have contact with you. It's business. Like, I know you don't like me, so you don't have to like me, and I don't have to like you in order for us to do something that can be great for us both. So I've learned to operate in a business mindset. Me operating in a business mindset and getting to know Trump personally, I definitely don't believe any of the things that we are seeing in the media whatsoever, but I can't expect everybody to feel the way that I do, because they haven't had that personal. And so, and I've gone online, like if you go read my Wikipedia page, like they almost got me labeled as a white supremacist, and I've done nothing but fight for my community for the last 20 years, and I've got receipts, right? So it's not, I didn't jump into politics.
Right.
I'm using politics as a tool
Right.
to do what I need to do in my community, which is at my heart.
Okay, so you highlighted the connection with, Robert Kennedy Jr. During the pandemic. How does his relationship shape the views of the medical freedom on social justice? I'm sorry.
What I love about Robert F. Kennedy is the reason why I became an independent, because working with Robert F. Kennedy helped me understand that we have to put people over party. Because Make America Healthy Again, which I'm honored to be a leading voice in that, it brings us all to the middle. Right? Because all of us agree on that. Like, we not fighting. Like, we all want to be healthy. We all want our children to be healthy. Right? We all want that medical freedom. The Kennedys have a long-standing relationship when it comes to civil rights and activism, and their relationship between, with the King family, and all of that is well documented in this book as well. So when I worked with Kennedy as an independent with a lot of conservative values, I was like oftentimes one of the only pro-life voices at the table. And so what that allowed us to understand is that it's okay for me to be pro-life, and it's okay for you to be pro-choice, as long as we're finding a solution, because we're not all going to be the same.
I like that. That was so well articulated, well put. I normally take people back into the journey into prison, what it looked like, but again, documented in some of your previous books. So, having been incarcerated yourself, what do you see is the biggest flaws within the judicial system, and what reforms do you think is urgently needed right now?
Oh man, it's a lot of, first of all, family separation. Like that's one of the reasons why I became one of the biggest Trump supporters, right? And was standing on business and didn't care how anybody felt, because I watched my community cry about family separation at the border, right?
Yes.
Look, a crime is a crime, okay? You can't, if you coming over here looking for a better life, and my homegirl in the hood with her kids, and she trying to make it, and she got to go write a bad check just to get some groceries until her money hit, and you go charge her with forgery, right? And it's based off of survival, because a lot of the women that I know that are reformed today, like they real hustlers. Like, we do what we got to do to take care of our families, and if it come to taking a chance, like our baby's gonna eat and our baby's gonna have somewhere to stay, right?
Absolutely.
So we have crimes of survival happening in America every single day. Family separation every time someone is arrested. If you are driving right now down the street with a suspended license and your baby's in the back and the officer decide to take you to jail, guess what? You're being separated from your kid.
Amen.
So to watch all of these people fight for family separation at the border and don't understand that we need to have family reunification at the border, because see, when they cross the border, then that means that they have to obey our laws. So why are we creating laws that only benefit them?
Correct.
Right? Instead of benefiting America as a whole. Like, don't tell me if an illegal immigrant come because she want a better life, that you going to keep her and her children together. You going to give her everything that she need, housing, medical, $9,000 debit cards, whatever they was doing up in New York. But when it comes to black women in my community, you sending them to Planned Parenthood.
Yeah.
Like, that's disrespectful.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. So, what are the biggest misconceptions people you think have about incarcerated individuals and the path to redemption?
I mean, I think that redemption is for those who truly want it. Some of us are going to be redeemed. Some of us aren't. You know what I'm saying? I think one of the biggest issues right now is mental health. Why I think that God works in mysterious ways, because there's no way that when it comes to criminal justice reform and the people that we're advocating for, especially with cannabis reform right now, like, there is no excuse for anybody to be in any American prison anywhere for marijuana, and they've legalized it in over half the states.
I agree.
Right? So, but you've got people that receive life sentences for marijuana. So you talking about letting somebody out of prison that's been locked up in the cage like a dog for 25 years.
Yeah.
And you think that there are no mental health issues, or even in my situation, it didn't take 25 years. It was a 2.5 year situation, but look what happened. I was pregnant when I went in, right? Gave birth to my baby, chained to a bed with the sheriff watching, okay? Mother died 6 months after that. Grandmother died 6. So for me, it didn't take 25 years.
Okay.
For me to be like, God, I can't, whatever you need.
So,
I'm bowing out right now.
So, all the trauma that you've experienced, because I mean, you telling everything, you know, and you tell everything in your book. Have you actually went and sought therapy, or have you actually dealt with your mental health, your trauma, and how is that playing a part in your trajectory where you are now?
So, I'm going to be completely honest with you. I have, and I need to be really, really, really careful with my words. But there are only, like, I'm not a person, because I have discernment in this season and I can't sit up under just anybody, right? Like, my mother was a preacher and a prophet. I have a mantle that's bestowed upon me. I can't sit in just any church, right? I can recognize false doctrine in this season that I'm walking in now, right? So there are a lot of people I can't sit up under. So it's been very hard for me, right, to go seek out therapy or help from other people, because I know that God is within me. Like, I pray. Right? Okay. I work on myself. Like, I did my own self-healing. Now, I'm not saying that I won't find somebody, and I'm not saying that, you know, going somewhere and getting people to help you with your trauma is not a good thing. I'm just saying, for me personally, because I'm just built a little bit different.
I was going to say, it's a lot of men are not as strong as you are, where they could say, hey, you know, I'm healing on my own, or I'm taking a stance. Whatever has happened in the past is in the past. And you know, a lot of people don't have the mental capacity to separate what they've been through to what they're living in.
Right.
So I guess when talking and looking at you, you know, one would think that you were polished. One would think that you handle your afflictions well. So I guess, with the unique experiences spanning from personal transformation, activism, politics, like, what's your next fight for criminal justice reform?
Wow. The fight for criminal justice never stops.
Right.
Right now, because of this unique alignment that I have between Trump and Kennedy, my focus is mental health when it comes to criminal justice reform and cannabis reform. Those are the things that I'm focusing on over the next 4 years. And then also this Naziah Harris case out of Detroit. I don't know if you guys have heard about this story about this little 13-year-old baby. I want to use my story, use these positions, use this favor that I have to restore the value of life, and particularly Black life. I think that a lot of the trauma and things that we're experiencing and we're seeing in our community, whether we're talking about gang violence, we're talking about, you know, the music, you know what I'm saying, whatever we see that are detriments to our community, I think it's because we've lost the value of life. And I say that from a pro-life standpoint.
Right.
Because I'm from a day and age where, you know, if you got pregnant, we had that family support, and Big Mama was like, nah, you bring me the baby, we're going to keep the baby until you get on your feet, you come back. And now in the atmosphere we're living in, even when it comes to politics, everything is so, like, pro-abortion, right?
Well, you know, it's one of those, like, slippery slopes with the, you know, pro-life, you know. And my thing is, you know, I was a young girl, and, you know, I've had an abortion.
I have too.
And I just couldn't imagine what life would have been like if I had to think for me and a little person at that time.
And that's what I experienced when I was in prison, right? Because everybody wanted me to have an abortion because I'm in prison. I don't have no support, okay? I'm pregnant. The state don't want to pay for it. They kept demanding that I have an abortion, right? That same baby ended up winning the Harvard International Debate Championship at 17, right? Got a full ride scholarship to every Ivy League school in the nation. She is now in her 3rd year at MIT. And what I'm saying is we grew up in an age where It's I'm not blaming anybody. It's not our fault, right? Because now I'm coming from a spiritual aspect. We were like, it's just like people thought slavery was cool because it was legal, right? So we grew up in a time where abortion was just legal. But being a mother now, being older now, God has blessed me with 5 children. Like I said, I've been there before. It's like when you know better, you do better. I understand there are certain situations, right? And I get that. But when we're pushing it and when we're advocating for it and when we're fighting for it, right? How do I tell Trump and a bunch of Republicans that Black Lives Matter when my community is the first in line at the abortion clinic because Black life starts in the womb, right? So it's we all here because our mamas got here. It's the recklessness of it.
Correct. Because I was going to say, because now we're challenging and we're going back and forth from the perspective of my perspective and yours. And you know, all of us are opinionated. All of us have lived through something, done something, or whatever. But I still feel, and like I said, we can agree to disagree.
Of course.
You know, choices are choices, and it should be left up to the individual.
I think the choice should be made before you open your legs and
Amen.
none in you.
I just said choices
prevention
are
is a real thing, right?
It is choices are choices.
Because we're not educated on what happens after we have the abortion, right? Because we're not educated on the fact that the majority of abortion clinics are in our communities. We're not educated on Margaret Sanger, why Planned Parenthood started. Hold on, let me finish.
Okay, I'm going to let you finish.
Because organ harvesting is a real thing, right? Nobody is leaving the abortion clinic with the baby's remains, right?
I understand.
And it's a lot going on now with stem cell research. Like,
I understand.
if you're going to tell Black women that they need to have a choice to abort because of poverty or their current situation, right? Because I'm for reparations. That's one of the reasons I couldn't get along with Republicans. But if you're going to tell them that, right, and then you're going to send them to the abortion clinic, and you're going to make all of this money, right, on the back end off of that fetus, at least give that to the mother, right? So she don't have to keep coming back and keep finding herself in this situation because no child should be aborted because of poverty. Right? When we talking about rape and incest, that 1%, that's one thing.
Okay.
But
I'm just gonna.
Me and all my partners came from poverty, and
I'm
we all
gonna just
successful.
inch on in there. And again, this is the mature, and this is the refined Angela speaking. This is not the Angela that is 16, 17, 21, and even though the education is there, the preventive education is there, but some of these young women are out and they're surviving and they're sleeping with this guy and they're doing this and they do get pregnant because the mature Angela and the 14, 15-year-old, they don't think the same.
That's right.
So again, I'm not either way, you know, everything in life is a choice. God said it. He gave us choice. And for our government to kind of dictate what that choice is a little...
Well, it was our government that gave us the choice and made it legal, right? So in 1974, it was 7 white men that made abortion legal off of a white woman that went and lied and said she was raped by 4 black men.
Understand.
And she never even had an abortion. So the government was in it then. And what happened is in 1974, we stopped seeing the KKK because the best way to get rid of a nigga is to kill him before he's born, based off of Margaret Sanger, the founder of Planned Parenthood. So what I'm saying for me, being in the space that I'm in, where I work with a lot of white Republicans who our community tends to believe are racist, we don't have respect there because on that side, they are fighting, they want to preserve their race. And on this side, we running whole presidential campaigns on killing our own race, aborting our own children, and nothing's gonna work until we restore the value of life, and that's from God. That ain't from me.
And again,
nothing.
I am with you. I'm God fearing, and we can talk about different subjects like this and spend hours on it.
Right.
But it is a reflection that the judicial system is broken.
Our
government is broken. We're uneducated still. And until we start with young women, young men, and start educating, financial literacy is a must.
That part.
Everything under the sun is a must. It's like we're behind times, and they're only letting us know what they want us to know. So I'm going to digress from that subject.
Okay.
And what I would like
we need to have, it was a good conversation.
Oh, absolutely.
Because we need to have that conversation in our space as black women. I'm being honest with you because It is a decline. One of the biggest things I'm advocating for with Make America Healthy Again right now is the maternal health crisis. Okay, Black women 3 times likely to die compared to white women. Yeah. Okay, I don't understand what that's about, but we're gonna get to the bottom of it. Okay, but when it comes to just Black life, if the mother is dying, giving birth, and if the baby is being aborted, okay. And if the little Black boy is being turned into a girl before he become a man, okay?
That's a whole nother topic,
and if I got one, I'm a mama, I'm going to speak on it.
Yeah.
And I don't care how nobody feel, because people, people feel how they feel, but I'm a mama and I have one, so I have a right to speak on it, right? A lot of people just speak from, what if, or what if. No,
we're not on the what ifs.
Right?
I got them too.
But when we, as ancestors, as elders, preserving Black life, right? I'm gonna say the shit that's gonna make everybody mad, but it's gonna be the truth.
Oh no.
Right? And it's what they need to hear. Be mad,
but people that understand what you're trying to say, those people are gonna empower you, support you, and anything that you have going on, they're gonna stand for it. And like you said, it doesn't have anything to do with Black, white, or anything. It's the cause itself. And from you coming from, like I said, incarceration to where you are now speaks volumes about it doesn't matter if you go to jail. You can do anything with your life and you can make a difference. So.
Well, I think I ain't going to say it doesn't matter because we want to re-educate our children, right? Absolutely. It does matter because it impacts you. Right.
Well,
and I had that drive, right? Even with our choices, if we become critical thinkers, right, we don't have regrets later in life. Cause
we're really right now we're in the thick of things. Put it that way.
And we need to be critical thinkers.
So, unless. What is that? What year is that? Is it Gen Z? Oh my God! So they're so fucked up. Excuse me. But they're messed up to the capacity that how do we correct, because you say educate, half of them don't even want to listen. So the things that you're putting out there is in the perfect world,
right? Only
in the perfect world,
right? And that doesn't exist.
How are you going to use your platform right now to help the young girls and young Black boys, the young Black girls between the age of 8 to say 24, because that's where I think most of the detriment happens?
Well, right now I have Auntie Angie's House, and we have American King Foundation. Auntie Angie's House, we basically support new mothers and babies, right, or mothers with children that find themselves in a crisis, kind of like my particular situation, and we retransition them back out into society. So that's what I'm doing personally, right? On a personal level,
and we appreciate
outside of any politics. Like I said, I've been active in my community for 20 years, way before Trump even thought about running for office. So what I'm doing now is using the favor that I have in this political cycle to advocate for reforms. One of those reforms being the maternal health crisis. Now, as activists in this space, we all got our own fight, and they're all needed, right? So you'll never hear me dissing Tamika Mallory or my son General, you know what I'm saying? Like, because everybody, what their fight is needed and their fight is important, right?
Of course.
But me, right, see, I show up, sometimes, like with Black Lives Matter, although relevant, Black Lives shows up after the life has already been executed, right? With my fight, right, I show up and save the life, right?
Sounds good.
And it's not nothing that anybody is against, because all of my sisters, we've been there. We know what it's like to struggle and raise these kids and need support. They want to help women. Like, once we get past the political stuff, they with me. Sis, what you need, I'm coming. You got babies over there. So we really, we need to have these conversations because we want to save the entire community, not just one sector. So you got Auntie Angie over here with the mamas and the babies.
Okay.
That's the beginning, right? I need to do that work. When them babies grow up, they might get off track a little bit, right? Then we got this group over here. We're all doing our part, because even though we may fight differently or have different ways of getting there, we all want to get to the same place.
Well, you said a mouthful then. Okay, well, I want to switch it up a little bit.
Okay.
Let's talk about your recent hot topic. I saw you on with Nelly taking, pictures. And what do you think about the public response when you have celebrities that performed at the inauguration? And can you talk about the work you're doing with Nelly?
I mean, Meg Thee Stallion was shaking her ass with Kamala Harris, and didn't nobody have a problem with that. A1 abortion supporter. So, I mean, I didn't hate. Beyonce got millions of dollars. She didn't need no money. She went. Look, the campaign funds, that Kamala Harris campaign, them was our grandmothers and granddaddies and people that wanted to have hope, just like Obama. Y'all took all these people money. Gave Beyonce $2 million to come speak. I'm gonna keep going. Okay, so listen. If Meg them can get their money, right, and Eminem, who's known to have a racist past, but they show up with Kamala, and all of a sudden black people need to listen to Eminem. Let me keep going. Yes. They can get their money, right? So when it comes to Nelly and Snoop was a big Trump hater, right? Yes. But Snoop pardoned his friend. Here we go. Like, it's one thing when we listening to other people, but it's another thing when you go in and you sit down to the table. Because it's whether they can see who on camera or not, it's 4 people in this room, right? Some people may have had a preconceived notion of who Angela Stanton King was before I walked in this door. Absolutely. And now that they've had the opportunity, see what I'm saying?
And I'm just gonna keep it. Keep it funky.
But you don't know, because we looking on the internet, we reading what people writing, we hearing what people saying. And everybody has an opinion, but nobody has a personal connection. They don't know.
Right. And like I said, until I got a chance to sit down with you personally. I know of the scandal 20 years ago with you, Apollo, Phaedra, Everett, and Everett was one of my guests. And all I'm saying is, to the transformation from where you were to you are now, I'm impressed, and I'm a fan, and I'm definitely going to follow you. So executive orders on men and women, the 2 genders thing. Everybody, Trump has really taken that to another level. And I support a lot of his views, but I don't voice them only because, you put yourself in a box with a lot of different things. And I'm out here, and, some things I agree, some things I don't. That's just like anybody, right? Right. So, what is your takeaway with that?
Common sense. Common sense. As a mother who gave birth to 5 children, like I have 3 sons, I know my sons had a penis before they did. I taught them how to hold it and piss in the toilet straight so they wouldn't get pee all around the rim of my toilet stool. So don't force me to go against my own conscience, right? Right. I can support you, and you can live your life how you want. Right. But you're not going to force me to believe, right, that a man can be born a woman.
Again.
And it's not her speaking.
Yes.
So please don't clip her channel. This is, y'all come for me, and I'm used to it. This is Angela Stanton King speaking. These are my words. So for the people who think the way that I do, it's not hate. But when you start putting it in the school,
you're just
and you want to teach my son that he can change his gender or change his name, like, that's not nothing that I'm teaching him in my household, right? So parental rights is important, right? And and we gotta right. Going back to what I was saying, I'm speaking from a mama, right? I have a right to protect my bloodline.
Oh, yeah.
And if my man child believes that he's a woman, then chances are, right, he's not going to reproduce.
Well, all I'm going to tell you is, Angela, you have definitely made an impression. and not only in the sectors of friends and families, of you're making an imprint on the world. Because even though a lot of people may not agree with Trump, a lot of people didn't agree with, the Biden administration and the Obama administration, that is politics. But just the mere fact that you are tackling the things in our community, that's what's making me a fan. I wish that more of us, when we came home from prison, we changed our mindset and got into the things that matter most. Because nobody knows what it feels like to be incarcerated. No one what it feels like to reacclimate, put your family back together, unless they've been through it. So I guess 2026, 2 years in public housing. What does that mean to you? Okay.
I think that for certain situations, because that's a case by case basis, and over at Auntie Angie's house, we got a two-year transition. Now I'm gonna just share a story with you, and some of y'all gonna be able to relate, and some of y'all not, right? But like I'm from my grandma's house. I had a lot of cousins. We all jumped off the porch, right?
Gotcha.
So a lot of us when we were young, we got pregnant, okay? And getting on Section 8 and getting you an apartment was the thing to do. You live on Section 8, you pay $25 a week, you find your boyfriend, a neighborhood drug dealer, y'all trapping, y'all living y'all ghetto fabulous, okay? Now, somebody like me, who when I came home from prison, couldn't get those things, right? I could no longer be dependent on the government. I had to find out how to be financially free. Best thing that ever happened in my life. But them cousins that I jumped off the porch with at grandma's house, still on Section 8, they kids on Section 8, their grandkids about to be on Section. Listen, we're talking about people that abuse the system, because here's the thing. There are people that need that assistance. I was one of them.
I was one of them.
But I didn't need it long.
I think that is the direction it should go. And I don't, again, I'm with you when you're right. I might be with you when you're wrong too, but I'm with you when you're right. I personally went through that. I came home from prison. I got on food stamps. And I'm going to tell you, I have a charge. I got charged with food stamp fraud. Because what I did, I was making $22,000 a year when I first came home. I had 2 kids and I was pregnant that I needed to support. So don't you know, because I did not report that I got a raise in my job,
they charge you with fraud.
They charge me with fraud.
And that's why that system needs to be dismantled, especially for our community, because it keeps you trapped.
Right, but Bumquisha over there ain't never worked. Bumquisha getting $1,200 a month in food stamps, and I was only getting $400. Yeah. And she over there eating real good lobster tails and crab legs. Her and her boyfriend, and she's feeding her kids oodles and noodles. And I'm madder than a motherfucker, because I'm like, how is it that I'm working trying to help my family, and here this girl, she's capable of working, she's sitting on her behind every day, and they having a good old time.
And what happens is, like a couple of days ago when those executive orders were coming out and people was getting scared because they thought that they Social Security and they government benefits was going to get, it's a trap.
Yep.
Because what happens when you can't depend on the government no more?
Right.
And a lot of us have greatness in us, right?
Yes, yes.
But we don't live up to our expectations because we have government dependency. It's like having a daddy that always pay your bills. Don't worry about it, baby. Daddy got you. So we got a whole community
that's dependent on
of black women dependent on the government. Never even tried to do nothing else in life because they were comfortable.
Because they're putting it takes the patriarchal
man out of the house.
Yep, and then 9 times
the children got to get out at 18.
Okay, you know what I'm going. You know where I'm going with that.
And how does it build you up for success? How is someone on Section 8? And I'm just talking about, I just know personally, and I'm 40, I'm 47 now. I want to say since we was 15. So what's that? That's 32 years.
It's a long time.
And you haven't purchased a home.
Yeah, you have not. They don't want to purchase a home. They want to. Hey, again, Angela, we can go into it, but I'm really happy that they have you signed up for the job. I am really waiting to see the great things that you do. And I'm going to apologize because I did have you pegged from 20 years ago, and I'm going to be a woman about it and say, you know what? I prejudged you, and I'm happy that I got the chance to see the new Angela. And again, one of your biggest fans now.
Well,
so
I want to say thank you for acknowledging that, and that's why I operate in discernment, because I already knew that, and that's why I kept reiterating when I said when I came in the door, we just have to. This is in this season, man. Pray for discernment in everything that we do.
Oh yeah,
because it's a lot gonna go down.
Because it's more to what you did 20 years ago.
Oh yeah,
it's just so much substance. It's so much. Like I said, I can't.
That's for you.
Yes. Oh wow. Thank you.
You're welcome.
King, Trump, Kennedy. Get your copy. Yes. So, how do the viewers find you?
Wow, man, I am a firecracker. They always clipping my social media. I've been good lately, though. I've had my last page. I've had it for a couple years, so you guys can find me on IG, the Angie Stanton.
Okay.
I'm on X, the Auntie Angie. And you can head over to AuntieAngie'sHouse.com or .org and just check out some of the work that we're doing in the community to eradicate the Black maternal health crisis and just support mothers that, you know, choose life. Because more mothers would choose life if they knew that they had support. And one thing that we know is that it takes a village.
It does.
So let's create
and
this
I'm looking for a
sisterhood.
village to help me with that last one I got, because, boy, he is something else.
Yeah, the boys are.
And then, not only that, you know, and I'm going to let you go because you just told me everywhere we could find you, but I sit on the board of a nonprofit called Another Chance at Healing, and I would just love for you guys to partner with some of the things, because it deals with mental health. It deals with, because we don't talk about it a lot.
Right.
And it definitely, if, I think y'all could do some great things together. So I'll definitely give you that information. About. Yes, because it's not enough nonprofits out here. It's not enough resources out here. It's just not enough.
And we don't have to reinvent the wheel, right? Like at Auntie Angie's house, I don't have to create a department for mental health. I can partner with someone in my community, right?
Yes.
And that way when that funding comes in, because there is a lot of funding in HHS, which RFK is going to be over, right? Okay. When that funding come in, we can make sure that we are taking care of our community, because so many times we see these people get money and they keep getting the money and keep getting the money. Somehow they got $10 million or something for homeless people in Atlanta. I'm still stepping over homeless people.
All I can
That's when they start clipping me right there. So
hey, all I can telling you, thank you so much. And if you have not gotten your copy, please, King, Trump, Kennedy. This woman is powerful. She's making strides in the community. She is doing some of the things that some of us wish that we could do. And hey, reach out, help support, and queens, help support this queen. That's all I got. But thank you, Angela.
Thank you.
You